In this first progress video, I'll introduce the student HUD, which is the heads-up display, and look at how it is interacted with in terms of moving around the simulation into the different process areas and how the different occupational hazard aspects have been integrated into it. Let's begin then by putting on the HUD out of inventory, and it's worn at the top of the screen. Here we have the process area, by default student orientation. We have a drop-down menu here that will give us sub-menus for each of the process areas. And over the left-hand side, scrolling arrows that will scroll through the process areas. And to the left of that, the button that will teleport us to the particular process area. So let's have a look at the first process area that's been developed, which is the quarry. Now there's enough solid evidence to suggest that presence is an important aspect of learning in a virtual environment, and to support that sense of presence, it's important to have the avatar belong in the environment. So we're moving into a quarry, and in terms of the costuming for such an environment, I've been developing a pair of coveralls, ear muffs because there's a lot of noise in the quarry, protective footwear, and eventually there'll be dust masks as well. So let's use the HUD and move down to the quarry, clicking on the teleport button. I won't go into a lot of technical detail in terms of how the quarry was built. I've given some information in the blog below. I'll just give a quick view around using the camera, and then we'll have a look at how the HUD interacts, or how the HUD presents information that's relevant to the quarry. I'll turn down the noise in the video as well so that it's not overpowering. As you can see, these are just 2D models. There's no high fidelity involved, because the concept here is to present the feel of the quarry, the feel of the work environment, the dust, the noise, the heat, or give a sense of that, not to highly detailed model a digger cab. That's not necessary in terms of the information that the student needs. So if we start with the sub-menu for the quarry digger driver process area, first of all, on the left-hand side we have a particular set of disclosure points which presents to the student things like the noise level in the cab, seat vibration, heat and dust levels. From a technical perspective, this button will turn that window off, fade that window out, or you can use one of the other menu items to do exactly the same thing and pull up the aspect of that menu. So if we use the MSDS sheet button on the menu, then we're actually going to a different type of resource, opening up a PDF in a web browser. So click on that, and here we are. Scroll through the item, close the web browser down, and we're back in the virtual environment again. Next on the menu we'll look at the calculators, which are used to assess the different environments that are all part of the overall simulation. And in this particular resource we're going through a web browser to access an Excel spreadsheet. So here, open through the browser, we're going to access the Excel spreadsheet, enter data and perform calculations to assess potential hazards in the workplace. Once the calculations are made, we can close up that Excel window, then the browser window, and we're back in the virtual environment again. So we'll close off the menu for the moment and go on over and have a look at another resource that the students can access, where there'll be certain objects within the environment that they could click on, in this case the digger, and it would show up some images of the work environment part of that piece of machinery. The students can close that down. And there'll be the ability built into the HUD as well for the facilitator who is taking the students around the environment to drop down images or data based on particular questions the students ask.